is getting disconnected.
Gautam, we can hear you clearly.
There's no problem with your line. Just keep talking.
Hello, hello. There's a lot of disturbance that is coming in my line. I don't know what is the reason. Anyway,
No, that's because your connectivity must be bad. So I don't think much can be done. Just carry on, please. We can hear you well.
friends,
Just carry on.
a change is being witnessed today, as quoted by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The convergence of technology, integration across diverse fields, distributed architecture, and people willing to back an idea have opened a new world for enterprise. We see startups, technology, innovation as exciting and effective instruments for India's transformation and for creating jobs for our youth. For startups today, there are different levels of financial support that has come to provide the initial seed capital in the form of incubators, angel funds, or venture capital funds, followed by private equity and debt in that order. It's raining unicorns in India amid an unprecedented funding spree for startups across sectors. Almost 70 Indian startups have already made it to the unicorn club. Well over 38.4 billion US dollars has been raised till December 2021, with several of the rounds producing Indian unicorns in 2021. As per the reports, the total count of Indian tech startups that have entered the Unicorn Club to date stands around 82. At this rate, India will manage to get more than 100 unicorns by 2022, much earlier than the previous estimations of 2023. We are sure that this initiative of FICCI of organizing Globiz exhibition and congress on innovation at this virtual expo will definitely present lucrative opportunities for the growth and development of the enterprises in our respective countries. It gives us great pleasure to mention that more than 50 entrepreneurs from India, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, from the sectors of agriculture and food processing, healthcare, electric vehicles, amongst others, are participating in this expo. This clearly indicates the high level of enthusiasm among the entrepreneurs to expand the outreach and offer their services for mutual benefit. With these words, I would like to welcome all our speakers in the inaugural session and wish all the exhibitors and buyers all the best and hope the expo to be a good success. Thank you, and over to you, Santosh.
Thank you, Gautam. Now I would invite Mr. Varshne to deliver his remarks. Thank you, Mr. Varshne, for joining us in for this program. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Santosh, and thank you, Gautam, for setting up the background. In fact, Government of India is quite keen, and for last 6-7 years since we launched the program like Stand Up India, Startup India, there is a lot of emphasis on promoting innovation. And my department, of course, is a bit restricted in a way that we are supporting tech-based innovations and supporting tech-based startups. But if you see the overall spirit of the government, then innovation is the key. Then we have got the disruptions at the level of current pandemic, which has also helped us in improving our skills and proving to the world that we can provide solutions in this changing time also. And too happy that a lot of startup came not only to fight over the pandemic situation, but also to grow with the economy. We in Department of Science and Technology has been believing that we need to not only promote science, but also to see how science would help in taking it to the next level of getting some technology-based solutions. And this is where we see role of entrepreneurs, role of innovations, which can play a very, very vital role. In department, we have started a program which is called Nidhi, National Initiative of Developing and Harnessing Innovations. Under this program, we are promoting several kind of activities. We are promoting entrepreneurship in residence, Priyas, accelerator programs, seed support program, center of excellence, and technology business incubator. Idea is simple that at each level a hand holding is required, and if we could connect them to the best players, it would be really nice. And under this program, the sectors we have connected so far, they are quite varied. It includes IT, software or mobile applications, embedded hardware, electric system, manufacturing, health, energy, biotech, agriculture, rural, and others. So idea is that we should be in a position to come uh, and provide some kind of guidance, some kind of support. And if I could talk about numbers, the number of technology business incubators we have supported in last 5 years, there are 152. And in last 5 years, they have just doubled. We have created a lot of ventures under these incubations. And more than whatever we have created or invested from the government, up to 5 times we have received, our supported incubator centers have received funding from angel and venture capital funds. So that is another way of looking at it. And we are looking startup incubators in all these areas, including electronics, ICT, biotech, agri-tech, food tech, manufacturing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep technology, which are essentially the national priorities for us. And we hope that this would be quite useful. We have started one more practice that taking our startup and innovators to foreign countries. And we have used FICCI as a vehicle. FICCI has connected us, and two major programs we have launched in Rwanda and Ethiopia. And idea is simple that we could take our startups and we could make a showcase depending upon the requirement of those countries and invite proposals from our startups if they would like to work there. Then selected startups could go to that country, see the market potential, exhibit their products, and redesign their products based on the requirement of that country. Also, together with the local partners, they could also take some hand holding of startup and incubators and entrepreneurs in that country. That program is quite successful, and I was seeing this program a week before that. I saw a very clear Sri Lankan interest in this program, and I thought probably if Sri Lankan side is interested, we could suggest them to partner with us in such a program, which again we can take help of Wiki in further augmenting it. So thank you for the opportunity given, and I look forward for exciting discussions today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have actually set the tone. We would love to work with you, and we would love to partner with Sri Lanka. We will hear during the date. Unfortunately, today the Secretary Education, under whom we have participation of about 30 plus innovations, we have not been able to, he has not been able to make up for the program. But we will definitely convey your message to his team. And Professor Udvate from the UGC University Grants Commission, he is also chairman for UGC, is already here. He is our panelist in the next session. But I'm sure he would have heard about it, and he will also convey this to the Secretary Education and to the government. So thank you very much. Now we have with us Mr. Saurabh Srivastav from Indian Angel Network, who has been hand-holding for the innovators. And we would request Mr. Srivastav to support our innovators today from Sri Lanka, from Bhutan, as also from India, to organize and support for the B2B meetings. And also we would look support from DST for some fruitful ventures between Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and Indian innovators. Over to you, Mr. Srivastav.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you, Santosh, for inviting me to this session, and a very good morning to everybody here on this panel. So I wanted to say that innovation is fundamental to everything in life today. So the way that we learn, the way that we communicate, the way that how we travel, how we entertain ourselves, how we live, everything today has changed from what it used to be. And the reason is innovation. And we don't have, and the importance of innovation is very clear when we look around the world. Because countries that have found a way to nurture innovation have surged ahead. Best example is the US. It's created an environment where the best and the brightest in the world come and innovate in America. And so it is the leading economy. Israel is another case where in the midst of what is a very hostile neighborhood for them, small population, they have innovated to a point where Israel is seen as the center of excellence on technology in so many different areas, and large companies in the world, including the US and India, partner with Israel for what they have done in terms of innovation. We must remember, though, that it's not countries that innovate. It's people and startups that do the innovation. So the country's jobs are to create environments where this flourishes. Because countries that feel that it's only their job to innovate and they have to do it by themselves do not succeed. Russia is a great example. And China is now beginning to head that way. This is not the model that works in innovation. I think for developing countries such as ours, India, Sri Lanka, the whole region, in fact, innovation is particularly important because we have massive challenges. This is not just about making it innovation that makes it easier to shop or order or whatever. These are important. But we have massive challenges. Education. We have only a third as many teachers as we need. How do you go to remote areas for giving high quality education? The question of how do you take affordable healthcare to every corner of your country? How do you handle issues around agriculture, agricultural productivity? There is the environment. How do you deal with issues around the environment? So there are challenges in many, many areas in developing countries. And the only way they're going to get resolved is through innovation. It's going to get resolved by creating an environment where we encourage people and startups in particular, because startups would see these as challenges, as opportunities. For them, the challenges in education becomes an opportunity. Affordable healthcare, medical devices, all of that becomes an opportunity. And through leveraging of technology and innovative business models, they will actually solve all the things that we are talking about in a sustainable, scalable, and elegant way. Why is it that I'm focusing on startups? Because the maximum innovation comes from startups. And that is because startups have no choice. Large countries can survive for quite some time without too much innovation. We've seen that in India. However, for a startup, it's challenging established players. And unless it's innovative, unless it's doing something dramatically better, dramatically cheaper, it is not going to succeed. So innovation effectively happens in startups. And this is why it is very important to focus on startups. In India, we are rediscovering our entrepreneurial roots. I mean, we used to be 25% of global GDP just maybe 400 years ago. This has been a very entrepreneurial, innovative country. But the focus has now been put again by Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi when he launched Startup India. And since then, as you heard, we have made huge progress. We have about 64,000 startups. It took us 10 years to create 37 unicorns, and it has taken us just 10 months to create another 35. So we are really going rapidly into the system, and our startups are beginning to solve problems around affordable healthcare, around education, agriculture, all the things that we wanted to be dealt with. And we saw that in COVID, that when COVID hit in March of 2020, we were importing every single thing, masks, kits, ventilators, whatever. In 6 months, we were exporting everything. Where did this come from? Not just large established players. It came mostly from startups. So I really think this is a great program, great initiative by FICCI, because it's not just India, but our whole region that needs it. And India really does want to work very closely with our neighboring countries, Sri Lanka, Bhutan. I'm so delighted that they are here. And we have been working closely together. I myself have been involved in investments in Sri Lanka, for example, not in Bhutan though yet, where we're trying to encourage entrepreneurship there. As the Indian Angel Network, one of the groups that I founded, it's the largest angel investor group in the world. We have been involved in helping launch the Lanka Angel Network as well. So we would like very much to work within the region. And I did mention to Santosh that the 50 startups that have registered and are being seen, we'll be very happy to look at them and to see whether any of them can be invested in from our side. So I really wish this initiative all the best. It's a great initiative, and it's excellent that you've tried to bring together other countries, because innovation gets even better when you have different people, different cultures, and different systems come together. Innovation thrives on these diversities. So with that, I want to say thank you very much and wish you all the best for this program.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for supporting us in this program. And we definitely look forward to having your participation and with the support of GST to organize this program in a physical format and as a second edition, maybe in Sri Lanka, or after due discussions, we can take it forward to any other country. And we would definitely love to have DST and Indian Angel Network to look into the profiles of the innovators and support us in organizing the B2B meetings. Thank you very much, all of you. And now I'll take you to the virtual tour of the exhibition. I'll just share my screen. Just give me a minute. Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah, Santosh, it is visible.
Yeah. So this is the Globiz website. We just log in here, and the login ID is you have to register first on the link that I've already shared. And once you log in, this is on our Fiki platform, Bike. Here we see the exhibition. We go in the exhibition area. So you'll see here companies from Sri Lanka, US tech transfer company. They've already shown their details. Then they are into lateral patent transfer apparatus. Then these are the companies that you can see here. University of Colombo is also participating. Business transformation optics, anti-mosquito repellents they have. Then we have CSIR from Delhi. They're showcasing their technologies. So in a way, you can browse all the companies here, and you'll be able to see a lot of companies. There are companies from here we have the bank system, then tech transfer, business information optics. Here we have CSIR Chandigarh showcasing their technology in the agri sector, in the biotechnology sector. This we have iRise. It's an incubator center from Mohali. So you'll see there are a lot of Bhutanese companies as also here. So this is about the exhibition. I would request companies that are into breakfast cereal also to just register first, and then maybe you'll be able to see the profiles of the companies who are being displayed here. So this is about the exhibition, sir. And thank you very much. We look forward to having you again with us, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all.
Hi, Santosh. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, we are running on time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Very well. Very well.
So, first session was good. Though we did not have any speaker from the Sri Lankan side, but it was a good session wherein we had DST International Head Cooperation. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can. Can you hear?
Right.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, it was echoing from somewhere.
Okay.
So, first session was a good session. Though we did not have any speaker from the Sri Lankan side,
Right.
but Professor Udvita he is also the vice chairman of the UGC from Sri Lankan side, was in the session. So DST has announced opening up of they would be keen to open up a center like they have done with FICCI for Rwanda and Ethiopia. So can I just can you give me a minute? Actually, Shivani wanted to speak to me.
Yeah, sure.
Hi. So
Hi.
we'll start our session at 11:30.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chaudhary.
Yeah, hey, good morning. Good morning.
We are just waiting for Professor Udvate from Sri Lanka to join in.
Okay. Hi, Padmaja, how are you?
Hi, how are you, Mr.
Doing-
Palchodri?
Yes, doing well. Well.
We are just waiting for Professor Udvate to join in, and then we'll start the session. He's just joining in another few minutes.
So, Santosh, I'm unable to connect on that link that you sent for B2B meetings.
You're
It's not working.
No, you just have to you just have to register first.
Yeah,
Once you
it's not
register,
It's not working.
did you get the login ID password?
There's just an email from you. I'm just hitting the link from there.
Okay.
Ma'am, I help them, okay?
Yeah, Sandeep, just help, ma'am.
Okay.
My
ma'am.
colleague is here, Sandeep. He'll help you out, ma'am.
Okay.
We have Mr. Satyendra Chaudhary also. He's the moderator for the next session for scaling up of grassroots innovations for their commercialization. So he's also here with us. In good morning, Professor Udvate.
Very good morning. Very good morning.
Session.
Yeah.
We start the session. We have Ms. Padmaja Rupel from Indian Angel Network. She would be moderating the session.
Yeah.
And will be taking you to for this program.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Good morning, everybody. And first of all, a very, very warm welcome to my co-panelists, Mr. Sompal Chaudhary, Mr. Udvate, and thank you for joining this panel, and thank you, Vicky, for putting something so interesting together. I thought the session is basically focused on financing opportunities for innovation in India and globally. And before I start, I would really invite my co-panelists to introduce themselves. Professor Sompal Chaudhary, if you could please.
Sorry, I'm not a professor or a doctor. I'm just Shom. Just call me Shom. Yeah, just a way of introduction. I'm a partner at Bharat Innovation Fund. So we are one of the deep tech funds in India, approximately $100 million under management. And we more focused on investing in core deep tech, core tech, IP-based technology companies out of India and kind of taking them global. Our origin and roots actually started from CIIE.co, the innovation continuum arm of IIM Ahmedabad. And we have invested in around 7 companies so far. 2 more are in the process. And again, that is a bit of a background in terms of my current work. My prior work, I come mostly from an operating background. I spent a good 20 years in Silicon Valley, part of the global head of product management and marketing for a company called Netgear. Started my own startup called American Grid a long time back. And in India, when I returned back, I was managing director of Analog Devices. It's again hardcore deep tech semiconductor company. So I used to run their R&D business sales out in India. So that's me. I'm very closely working with TIE for IoT Forum and so forth as well, which is a think tank for IoT in India. So yeah, deeply embedded in the, hard tech, deep tech space in India. Yeah.
Thank you, Som. Thank you. Chandana, could I invite you to introduce yourself, please?
Right. Very good morning to everybody, and thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk with you and also to share this knowledge. Actually, I'm a professor, senior professor in chemistry, so one of the leading university in Sri Lanka. But presently I'm the vice chairman of University Grant Commission, which governs all the universities in Sri Lanka, all the state universities. We do have 17 state universities. So this is the umbrella suite, and then we govern all the universities, the state-run universities. Actually, I came here about just 8 or 10 months ago, and then now I'm working as a vice chairman of UGC. Anyway, if I take a little much time from you to express some thoughts and as well as some initial action we have taken in order to commercialize the products. As a university lecturer, so we have 2 functions mainly, the teaching and research. Of course, the teaching is another part, and the research, according to your interest and also the country needs, the research can be conducted, and also the grants are also available in order to do the research. So anyway, people have been working with this research activities from the beginning, and the main problem was once they found some innovation, and then how innovation can be commercialized, and they had not the way to do that. And of course, money problem comes first, and then the money factor coming as a big problem for the for our researchers. And of course, there are two kind of commercialization way. The first one is a state entity, trying to find out state entities, and the second one is a private entity. Actually, the state-run industries or entities has a very it's very difficult to go ahead with, especially the state, the money. However, the private sector has come forward in that way due to your personal contacts, most probably, and then most of the time. And then private sectors were only some innovation were taken from university staff, and they even now they have developed it, and then things are in the market now already. However, since there won't be any mechanism in the university system in order to commercialize their products or innovations, then we had what is called, we got some initiatives with the help of World Bank last year. And no, I think not last year, 2019 onwards. And we called University Business Cell or University Industry Business Linkage. So this was funded by the World Bank, and all the now we have already got, every university got a one cell. And from that cell, that means 17 universities, as I told you earlier, the state universities are there. Now almost all the universities established these UB cells. And from that cell, so that will facilitate for students and also the researchers to commercialize your innovations. And already, even though it is very recently established, but already some universities, with the help of UB cells or university business linkage. So now already they have some of products has already gone to the market, or some are online. So actually, what we had done is just to streamline everything with the university administration. And then I told you that we had a problem of commercializing these products. So only your private connection with the private sectors, and some people came forward. But now you don't need to do that, because now UB cells are already operating, and then therefore the main duty of the UB cell is to find out a partner or industrial partner in order to commercialize the product. So and also I thank India and some of your early speakers, and they had an intention to do some work with Sri Lankan innovations, and they want to try that innovations, and also they are very interested for the commercialization of this particular product, because India and Sri Lanka more it is called quite similar, the culture we do have with these two nations, and therefore this mainly, especially some food items can be also commercialized, because India has a big market, so we understand that. And then these initiatives are very good, and also I wish these initiatives go ahead to strength by day by day. So already some innovations were already taken by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and we have the provincial Chamber of Commerce, and some universities, they had already signed some agreement with the provincial Chamber of Commerce, and also some private other companies has also come. I know that some innovations are already in the market. So with this small note, so I could we can go forward with the discussion. And thank you very much for your time reserved for me to express some view from Sri Lankan side. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Chandana. I think
Yeah.
you gave very, very detailed overview of the Sri Lankan innovation market and what is happening there and the kind of provincial government and national government support. So I thank you very much. But I thought just before we proceed, I'd just give a quick introduction to myself. I am, as Santosh mentioned, co-founder of Indian Angel Network, India's first angel network, and now perhaps the largest. We have over 500 investors from 12 countries with a portfolio of 200 companies plus across 17, 18 sectors in 7 countries. We also have a venture capital fund, which is investing just after the angels. So very early stage companies can raise from 25 lakhs to about 30 crores on a single platform. All they need to do is keep performing and building their companies. At my personal level, I've also been instrumental. I've been in the entrepreneur ecosystem now for almost 22 years. It makes me feel a little old, but hey, who cares? Was instrumental in bringing TIE to India, setting up the TIE Delhi chapter just even before Gitika joined. Put IVCA, which is the Indian Venture Capital Association, which now represents the entire unlisted space in the country, put that on its feet, and then did my third peer group with IAN, and then IAN Fund. I think what I'm very, very proud of is immodestly a little bit, I think I've been able to take angel investing as a cause for my life, and I've actually a patron to Lanka Angel Network, which I had found. I've done Bangladesh Angel Network, and I'm on to a couple of other countries as well, which has taken India to the map of Global Business Angel Network, where I'm a co-chair. So I've been doing and investing and mentoring companies, and I think I have got much more than what I've given, because innovation and disruption, I think those are two huge learnings that we as investors get, we as mentors get, and I think we get more than what we give. So it's been a very, very interesting journey. I want to sort of go back to what Santosh would like to talk to us about. And I'll just, Chandana, you probably have covered some points, so I'm going to focus a little bit more on Santosh, if it's okay with you.
Of course, I know.
Yeah, because some of the points you've covered and very well. Thank you very much. So Santosh, just to get your views on what are the avenues that are emerging for entrepreneurs to tap funds to support their ventures? Because I think India is the fastest growing startup ecosystem. It has become the epicenter of the global startup and innovation ecosystem. We are seeing that, right? I mean, in 1 year, 50 unicorns, 58,000 startups, 23 billion in 1 year. I think we've really created some standards which are interesting, and I think good for our lifetime to see. But Santosh, what do you think? How can this help more innovators, more early stage entrepreneurs? What is happening? I mean, you're deep into it. The very fact that your Bharat Innovation says it all. So what's your view?
See, through this program, Padmaja, this is the first program. We have been associated with FICCI. Mr. Saurabh Srivastava is also a mentor in the FICCI Startup Committee of FICCI. So, and you are also aware that FICCI has done a lot of programs with startups, with innovations. But this will be a unique program because we are trying to get investors connected with the innovators. So this is a unique program of its own. And through this program, we would love to have, if we succeed in getting 3 investors for our amongst our 50 innovators to invest in, I would feel that I have done my bit. So this is my target, and with Bharat Innovation Fund, with you, we would love to have investments for our innovators. So this is the whole target, and where we for this I have requested you, your organization, plus Bharat Innovation Funds, plus the other funding agencies to support the innovators. This through this program, again, I would say we would like to take our innovators all across the globe. That's the reason why we have named it as a Globiz, where we are targeting business from globally to come on board and showcase the innovations in this pandemic time, where everybody is struggling for every day. The innovations and startups have come up in a very big way. So with about 64,000 startups in India and around 37 plus unicorns that we have given up in last couple of years and few more in coming up, I see that India is again coming to a rank where we will be able to support the innovators in the developing countries. We would love to support innovators in Nepal, Bhutan. Today we have innovators from Bhutan also. So handful of Bhutanese innovators are there in our panel, but in our exhibition. But we would love to support them. We would like to. Bhutan is a country where actually innovations and the funding agencies from India would help. So this is what are my points here. So over to you, Padmaja.
Okay. So Santosh, lost on the structure, but let me try and ask the question that what are the emerging funding sources for young innovators in your mind that are breeding in India?
See, a lot of venture capital are there, and I would not actually be able to tell you more on this because I am not that deep into the work
Okay,
of.
maybe I should switch it to Som quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so see, things have changed drastically in India, right? We now have multitude of funding sources for early stage innovators, be it the Indian angel networks and multiple other angel network groups, be it the early stage incubators and accelerators, corporate. So there are probably around 250 to 300 incubators, accelerators. I'm sure I'm undercounting many of them. So when we started our journey with CIIE.co, the innovation continuum, we were probably one of the top 2-3 ones, right, in the industry. But today, 250 to 300 incubators and accelerators, and it's just the corporation innovation programs, the government related Atal, innovation aspects. You got private, public, multiple such agencies out there, and also the global guys like Y Combinator, Brink, and other incubators in the country today, right? So that is one avenue. The second, obviously, if you are showing some kind of an MVP and so forth, you get to the stage of angel networks. Multiple universities, be it IISc, be it IIT Chennai, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, all have their innovation cells and so forth as well, where some amount of support is given, right? Some amount of, and then you got organizations like BIRAC, Department of Biotechnology. They have done a fabulous job in terms of pushing the real science on the biotech side, agri-tech side, health tech side, and so forth. And of course, there are VC funds. VC funds typically tend to come in slightly late stage. We'd love to see at least some amount of progress done with the early angel, early grants, and so forth. And that's when we come in at a seed stage, pre-seed stage even sometimes. But mostly follow-on funding is where VCs like us, we come in.
No, absolutely. I think so. I would just endorse everything that you have said and just add a little bit more. I think over the last 6-7 years, startups have become center stage, right, in the country. And I am personally very delighted because not only has it made it a little easier for startups to breed in this country, but there is a huge pots of government money that are opening up.
Correct.
So we, of course, have the startup fund, which is the fund for startups, which the government has put together almost $1.5 billion or a little bit more, perhaps, that has been architected. We have a number of state funds which are investing in very, very early stage entrepreneurs and innovators. We have a plethora of incubators and accelerators, which have not only been initiated in the private sector, but even in the government sector. The Niti Aayog's Atal Innovation Mission that has really unleashed itself. For instance, there is a 1,000 crore fund which is for incubators, to breed more incubators. I'm on the advisory board of that. And that is, I think the most interesting part of it is most of that money is going into new but high quality incubators. So, it's driven by, decisions are also driven by track records of team members who are driving it. To me, that is very, very critical. And then, of course, I think India has gone one step ahead. It has tried to instill the magic of innovation, the thinking of innovation even younger, through the tinkering labs that are being set up in various schools. So I think, Som, you're absolutely right. Apart from angels, VCs, the micro VCs that have also come up, there is also corporate venturing. A number of corporates are opening up to not only fund, but also become customers, become acquirers. And I think this is just awesome to see this whole innovation ecosystem not only spread, but I think go deeper and be able to accelerate their growth with the high quality mentoring, the high quality technical expertise, the domain understanding that young startup entrepreneurs can really accumulate. So all in all, I would completely agree with you, Som. I think where we were never, startups were never on any newspaper, right? Today it became center page.
Actually 2 to 3 pages now. Economic Times, 2 to 3 pages now. Right.
Yeah, but now it's not only 2 to 3 pages, it's front page news.
Correct.
So
exactly.
I think the journey of Indian startups is reflected right there. And I'm really, really excited about being part of this journey today. I mean, we just well timed to be born and live this journey of India today. So it's a renewal of India in some ways. So and I do think, to your point, Santosh, and we are being a little bit, the startup and entrepreneurship is an infection. It's a virus, and I'm so happy there is no vaccine to it, because we are being able to spread it to Lanka and Bhutan and Bangladesh and Middle East. So this is one virus we don't need a vaccine, and I think it's very exciting to see what we've been able to inspire, if not too much. So on that note, I did want to also come to another point that our Prime Minister himself, Honorable Mr. Modi, has been sort of really driving from the very forefront some of the, not only leading the brigade for startups, but also creating some enabling ecosystems, right? And as FICCI is looking at creating a global hub of innovation, and I'm a co-chair of the FICCI Startup Committee, I think it'll be very interesting to get ideas from both of you, Chandana and Som, as to what more can we do in terms of easing the ecosystem. And I'm purposely not using ease of doing business, because I think that's often debated. But how can we make the ease of ecosystem for startups to not only breed, but grow, and not only create valuation, but also value? Because ultimately, my personal view is that unless startups create jobs, unless we as a country create jobs, and I think the startups are the best vehicle to do so, we will be creating another industry called terrorism, which none of us need. So what to your minds can we do to actually breed an ecosystem, create an ecosystem? And we are best placed as a large country, as a country which is in the forefront, to create a very enabling ecosystem. And I'm hoping countries around us like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh can get inspired. They don't need to emulate, but I think inspired.
Yeah. Now, I have one request, right? So historically, if you have seen, B2C companies have done tremendously well in India, right? I mean, more than probably 70-80% of the unicorns that we see are B2C fintech companies, e-commerce companies, and so forth. On the other hand, from a B2B perspective, this has been a bit of a difficult journey for the Indian startups, right? In the sense that, given the type of customers that our businesses, our large business houses, they support, the cost structure and so forth also needs to be very lean and mean. So the demand on a B2B startup in terms of giving the best as compared to the world at a rock bottom price also kind of comes up. And traditionally, what we've seen, many of the B2B companies have kind of gone and sold to the West. In fact, all of our startups, after the initial product market fit and so forth, they have expanded out to a certain extent, saying that, hey, with the same time, energy, resources, and effort, the revenue that you get from the outside global markets is far, far higher as well. What I would recommend, given that this is a FICCI program, if for early stage startups, if there is a certain, based on certain industry requirement, based on certain FICCI member requirement, if there could be a bit of a matchmaking for very specific pilots, or in fact, I would say paid pilots, right? So that kind of creates, the benefit of the FICCI members as well, more from the industry side. And the startups get a partnership, the startups get some kind of early customer base via this program as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and I'll just take the FICCI piece one step further. I honestly feel that FICCI has a very huge role to play here. Not only is there an industry and startup matching, I think industry could almost initiate innovation, because there are a number of industries which are sitting in the membership of FICCI, and many of them, I hate to use the word traditional, but those that have been around for much longer. And I think there is a huge opportunity for innovation and tech enablement of many, many parts of that industry. So I think sessions on whiteboarding, sessions on bringing industry and just industry enunciating what could be the pain points, how we could have startups really innovating and making our traditional, deep-seated, well-experienced, well-managed companies to become faster, meaner, leaner, and more agile. That's number one.
And the good news is, during or post-COVID, we are seeing from all quarters, every company, it's initially, we were talking about IoT, the digital transformation, all in terms of automation. We were talking in terms of quality improvement, but now it's an aspect of business continuity also coming in. And every customer, large Indian companies that I talk to, today they say it's no going back. We understand now the value proposition of the digital transformation. We are going forward. We are budgeting. We are moving forward. So show us these startups. I think that's the customer wants that today. And I think this is very timely.
But I think it's very important for corporates to come out, these businesses to come out and actually enunciate their pain points. It is right now the other way around, where startups are trying to reach out with their propositions. I think innovation will breed faster, more applicable, grow, and get embedded. So that's one big point. I also like your other point, Som, where you're saying that, Indian startups are building for the West, which is the US primarily, and some of the other countries. I think India is a very, very unique country. It's so varied and so diverse that, a price point or a consumer behavior in the north is very different to the price point and consumer behavior in the south. Right? And
Yeah.
therefore, a lot of products are made to these specific customer behaviors, customer needs, customer ecosystems. Now, interestingly, India is therefore a place where a lot of innovation can get piloted, right? If there is something that works in one part of the country here, it is bound to work at least in one other country in the world. That's the power of India, and I think that's the power of our demography in some ways. So I honestly believe that there is a huge opportunity sitting here and we do know that a number of FICCI member companies are doing business not necessarily in the US or Europe. They are doing in Africa, they're doing in Middle East, Southeast Asia, Far East, Russia, etc. LATAM, etc. So I think there's a huge opportunity sitting right there for our startups to in some ways work with these large companies and open up other global markets which means that Indian companies can actually grow faster and Indian startups can help enable that growth. So I think there is a win-win partnership sitting right there. And I would look at actually FICCI to enable that between their industry membership, their larger FICCI membership, and their startup ecosystem. As I am part of FICCI and sitting there as the co-chair, I think this is one of the things I have also suggested to FICCI, that I think the startup committee is sitting in a bit of a silo, doing its own piece, bringing, and they're doing a lot of things. I must share that with you. They're doing a lot of programs. They're trying to do a lot of matchmaking, but it is sitting as a silo. I think there's a need to integrate the startup group, and I'm not saying the committee, the startup group with the main membership, because I think there's a lot that can happen. So I think that is something we would. Santosh, how much time do we have? We always have more things to talk about, but conscious
we can take another 5-10 minutes, ma'am.
Oh, we can?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the other piece that I'd like to point out, India is today become not only the startup capital of the world, but India is today become anything tech. So we have tech enablement across sectors, fintech, climate tech, agri-tech, edu-tech, and we've seen huge success in many of them. I don't know what's happening in Sri Lanka, Chandana, but I will sort of come back to you to understand what is the tech enablement happening in Sri Lanka now. But with the tech enablement happening, what is one of the big issues that I'm seeing in India specifically is tech talent. Tech talent is very, very difficult to hire today and retain, I would say, and becoming increasingly expensive. And it's a huge problem for startups to really grow. It's one of the biggest issues. I mean, fundraising and talent are the two resources which startups build on, and one of them is in a difficult, scarce mode. So, any thoughts about how we could overcome that one issue? I mean, the funding issue seems to be solved, but the talent issue, especially tech, doesn't seem to be getting solved.
Some companies even in Sri Lanka also they got start to do these startup activities, but it was badly hit by this that pandemic situation. Now I think since it's going to be a little bit okay now, things are getting very saturating at this moment. So then I hope that those industries or the entities they came with the startup activities, so then they will small
Sure.
slowly they will pick it up and maybe within next 6 months on time, so they might come to that certain level at where they were before the pandemic situation. So at the time, at the present, is not very much interested, because of still we are recovering from the past. So the company also and the industries, they are reluctant to get people, or reluctant to do some research and development until they get some kind of saturation. So that is the situation in Sri Lanka, because as you know that Sri Lanka is a small country and a small market is there. So that is the reason why we are also looking for India, because since it's a very big market in this actually.
Absolutely. So the problem that you're facing, Chandana, is I think we have a market and we have an interest from countries like yours to come and access our market. But I think there is a unique issue, just so that you understand. In the ecosystem here in the country here, there is a dearth of tech talent, and that's why within at least the startup ecosystem in India, be it VCs, be it angels, be it startups, be it other ecosystem enablers, there's a huge discussion on how this can be solved, and it's not getting solved. So, Som, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I'll probably, I mean, I've been involved in all of these discussion on capacity building and so forth, capability building and so forth. But I'll give you, I mean, my 2 cents in terms of what we are seeing today. See, if you talk from a quantity standpoint, I don't think we got a problem, right? In terms, as soon as one of our startups provides a position, they get hundreds of resumes. The issue is in these kind of situations, we need the quality folks as well. From a quality standpoint, I think there is a dearth of good talent. And those talents which are really good, they are obviously in extremely high demand, right? And what I'm seeing is multiple positions are not getting filled, even offers getting given, but the right candidate is going jumping ship and joining over some other company at a 20%, 30%, even 50% premium, right? So that's kind of what the startups are struggling with. While on one hand, we had minted 42 plus unicorns, very high paying salaries, even in the startup ecosystem for the right talent, right? We are seeing that limited pool of really good talent is where the scarcity is. And the way and options to build up this piece is, again, I mean, I think each one of the employees, the tech talent needs to step up. They needs to go through slightly more deeper, and this is where I have a fundamental problem in terms of the tech talent. Except for the top brass, it's very superficial sometimes, right? We talk about putting up data science. There are millions and millions of data science scientists today, but how many can really go in deep and solve the problems? I would suggest to the engineering, the tech talent is, you guys need to also step up. If you think you are mastering a certain subject, you have to take up Coursera courses, do some experiments, get your understanding better, read, right? And then only kind of apply. I mean, it's not a question of just for the sake of applying and so forth, you just put everything in your resume and do that. But the feedback from the market is, yes, there's a dearth of tech talent. Yes, there's a need for capability building. But the good news is the mass scale capability building is already happening in the universities and so forth. Extreme number of data science courses and so forth are happening as we speak as well. But I think the real tech talent folks really need to step up, go that extra mile to kind of understand, dig deeper, do a couple of projects, take Coursera courses and step up.
Yeah, I would agree. I would absolutely agree with that. And I would also add, and in all candidness, I think apart from upgradation and skill building, right, which Som sort of alluded to, I think there is a very, very important piece that is which is absent today in the talent industry, if I may say so, is you have to stay for a while with companies and build depth in your own experience. I think we are building a country of rolling stones.
Exactly.
I think you need to really appreciate the opportunity, choose the opportunity, work on it, build relationships. It doesn't work. You just can't do black and white working. You plug in, work for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and then switch a job. Ultimately, what will happen is you will not develop value in your system. You will not be respected to later in life. It is people who build relationships, build their careers to a certain extent, and then switch. I think this has to be understood by the tech industry. It's very important because it is not only harming companies, it is not only harming startups. I think in the long run, it's harming themselves also.
It's
So
harming the individuals big time. I mean, frankly
Big time.
speaking, I reject resumes if I don't see a consistent, at least a couple of years of investment in a in a specific role.
Yeah. And what happens is that all the depth that the IT industry has built over the 30 years that it's been in working, and all the depth that the good startup ecosystem has been built over the last 15, 20 years is going to come to a naught. And I think there is a responsibility beyond ourselves to build a country. So on that note, I'm going to close this. I really was delighted to speak with all three of you, Som, Chandana, and Santosh. And thank you very much for your time, your insights, and hope to connect in person soon. Chandana, if you're in India, do look us up. And Som, if you're in Delhi, please do ping me. We should catch up.
Absolutely. And Padmaja, next time you're in Bangalore, just ping me.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you all panelists for joining us. And we definitely look forward. FICCI would love to be part of the journey of making startups globally, Indian startups globally, and help the other global startups. Thank you very much, all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
Mr. Vaishnav, good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon. Is this the same link? I'm not able to.
It's the same link. We'll continue on the same link.
Okay.
Professor Udvita, if you would like to join for the session, we would be happy to have you as in the group from the Sri Lankan side. And meanwhile, we'll have Mr. Chaudhary also joining in, who is the moderator for the program, and Mr. From the HCL Technologies, we will have HCL Technologies Sri Lanka. We will have the resident director. Just a minute, Mr. Vaikuntham, and he's also joining us in a couple of minutes. Just give me a minute. I'll just connect with them once and I'll ask them to join in. Just give me a minute. Yeah, Mr. Chaudhary, welcome.
Hello, I will select the lighting part.
Yeah, you're audible, Mr. Chaudhary.
Just give me a second. Okay.
But you're not clearly visible. I think light is.
Yeah, that's what direction of the laptop. Yeah, am I now visible?
Little bit clear, but not too clear. Too clear.
Just give me a second. Give me a second. Laptop है. It's fine now.
Yeah. Very much clear. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, as I'm outside, so good afternoon, Santoshi, and good afternoon to everyone here.
I understand. We're just waiting for HCL Technologies, Mr. Vaikuntham, to joining. He's the resident director in HCL Technologies, Sri Lanka. He was having some problem on WebEx. He's just joining in another 2-3 minutes. We'll just wait for him to join in, and then we'll start with the panel discussions. We already have Mr. Rajiv Vaishnav in the panel.
Okay. Hi, Rajiv.
Hi, how are you?
Mr. Chaudhary, just to introduce Mr. Vaishnav, he is a co-founder for Cornerstone Venture, and he has invested in a lot of startups, and he has over 40 years of experience, and he has been building a lot of brands. And let's hear from him as to which are they've worked with NASCOM and other organizations also. And let's hear from him only, let him introduce himself so that we have in depth of what exactly he has been doing. Because if you write about your profile, you have to limit to yourself. But when you talk about it, there is no end for about yourself. So
you are very kind.
to Mr. Vaishnav.
Thank you. Hi, Satyendra, how are you? So as Santosh mentioned, I was a part of TIE, I was a part of NASCOM for several years. And therefore, somewhere connected with grassroots innovation and the activities. In fact, I was a part of FICCI's grassroots innovation activities led by Dr. Nikhil Agarwal a couple of years ago. And
that's good.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because with FICCI, I had a great opportunity to work when I was at NASCOM. So with Siddharth Dasgupta, we worked on animation and gaming. And Leena is a very dear friend. So yeah, there are many friends. The thing is, today I'm a part of Maharashtra State Innovation Society. And I think that is one very, very beautiful model that has evolved over the years. And they have a great impact on grassroots innovation. So I'm quite excited about it to be on the panel. Yeah. So let's talk when we start the panel.
Yeah, we'll just wait for HCL Technologies to join.
Yeah, that's fine.
And just to update you about the two sessions, the inaugural session that we had in the morning, and the other session on funding opportunities for the innovators. The good thing that has come up is because Padmaja has also been on board of our startup committee, and she has worked a lot with FICCI on innovations and startups. We would love to create a global ecosystem for our startup and innovators. And also, as announced by DST International Head Corporation, Mr. Varshney, they would also like to partner with FICCI to take this internationally, this initiative internationally, since you know that this is a pilot project that we have launched in India. And due to the pandemic situations, we have not been able to organize this in a physical format. We would love to do it in a physical format and take it globally. So, yeah, we have Mr. Vaikuntham here online. Good afternoon, Mr. Vaikuntham.
Hi, good afternoon.
So we have in the panel Mr. Chaudhary. He is from Incubation Center from Mohali, Chandigarh, and we have Mr. Mr. Vaishnav. He is from Cornerstone Venture Capital, and they have also invested lot of investing startups and innovations. And incubation, Mr. Satendra Chaudhary, you know about, they have the center in Chandigarh, and they're working again with a lot of incubators, startups and innovators. So with this session, we would like to, to coordinate basically and support the innovators and startups know how to actually mobilize their technology in the market and how we can commercialize their technologies. So this is the whole topic that we're talking about here. Over to Mr. Chaudhary here.
Thanks, Santoshji. And once again, a very good afternoon to all the people and to a team over here from FICCI and whoever listening to us.
Your voice is not audible, clearly audible.
Now, can you hear me now? Is it okay? It's better?
Other panelists can hear him clearly?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, clear, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, is it okay or should I put on the headphones or something?
No, I think this is fine. It's clear. Go ahead.
Should I use?
Yeah, please go.
Is it clear? Am I audible? Okay.
Yeah.
So, now, as Santoshji has said, that yes, we will be discussing about the scaling up of grassroots innovations. Now, thankfully, we'll have Sri Lankan perspective as well, and both Sri Lanka and India are at the similar level as far as in fact, certain kind of innovations in the informal sector which is concerned, and the role of informal sector that plays in the GDP of the country. In both the countries, it's quite similar. I hope panelists are connected. Or there's some issue?
No, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, informal sector is one of the key aspect of our growth engine in both the nations. So it's the topic that we are discussing about the innovations, and certainly in India we sometimes call it jugaad, which is happening at the lower level or the informal level of the economy, where we get the need of this innovation as per the problem of a particular sector, particular geography there, and people come out with quite innovative solutions, which sometimes is convenient, sometimes it's cost effective, or sometimes it helps to increase the productivity. So keeping that in mind, we'll start this session. And I think the first point that is very important, like is, as a venture capitalist, we have here Mr. Rajiv and obviously from Sri Lanka, sorry, from HCL, right? So you can also put your point across in this thing is like, first of all, how do you identify these grassroots innovations? Because most of the time they are not coming from the formal channels. So knowing them, getting them, we need to take the platform to these innovations. They may not come upfront to the platform or support or the incubation or acceleration for that matter, anything where they can grow further, because they're pretty content, but we need to provide them the platform. So how do you identify these grassroots innovations and how to reach out to them. So maybe Mr. Rajiv can start first, and then Mr. Vakuntham can follow. Rajiv, you are there?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Satyendraji. And thank you, Fiki and IVCA, for this wonderful opportunity. Great connecting with all of you. I have been in and out of grassroots innovation, so-called that ecosystem. As I was mentioning, I was with TIE, and TIE as an organization nurtures entrepreneurs. And that was the time way back in 99, 2000, when from Silicon Valley, the entire opportunity of entrepreneurship and the concept of entrepreneurship actually in those formal words. .com was the buzzword at that time, and a lot of technology innovation was happening. So to my mind, what I feel is that when you look at all other investments that we as venture capitalists are making and all, they are all inverted pyramids. You know, it starts with that one person or two people, and then the organization grow to become bigger. Whereas grassroots innovation actually is the pyramid where the base is very big, and then you start seeing the success as they kind of grow and make impact onto the community that they are representing or they are participating. So it's very difficult, according to my exposure and experience. It's very difficult to identify grassroots innovation because those people are not aware, they are not on social media, they are not talking about it, they are not bragging about it, they are not branding about it. And because of that, that community is very important, that the awareness at the grassroots about some initiatives being taken by the government, some initiatives be taken by some groups that are promoting entrepreneurship, that are promoting grassroots innovations, and they are looking for those kind of opportunities. I mean, there are some amazing NGOs that I'm in touch with. They are doing phenomenal work in terms of identifying this grassroots innovation, identifying people who are kind of managing through whatever resources that they have, without realizing that there are institutions and people outside who are willing to support, and they can reach out to them. But I think this is now a growing ecosystem. I mean, I remember when Thai was introduced in India way back in 99, we used to go to colleges, we used to go to various forums and ask students as to who all want to become entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship as a concept was not known in those days. Over a period of time today, when we see that Prime Minister of the country is talking about entrepreneurship, is talking about startups, it's talking about unicorns, I think that awareness has gone to an absolute different orbit and different level. And today, everybody is sensitive about if they are doing something good, something impactful, then yes, there will be resources available. And I'll talk about Maharashtra Innovation Society that I'm a part of. But I feel that it is easier said than done about grassroots innovation. Because it is grassroots, it will take a lot of effort for all of us put together to bring them into the mainstream of attention, of awareness, where the innovators will get the benefit of their work. So I'll stop here right now. Thank you.
So, so it is like, as you said, like NGOs, government, and even state machinery and certain private companies are making some initiative to identify those or reaching out to those grassroots innovations. But yes, a lot more need to be done. So with that, I would like Mr. Vaikuntham to share with his own experience from his nation and maybe international.
Thank you, Satyendra ji. Thank you, Fiki, for the opportunity. I can't agree more with Mr. Rajiv, who just talked about the inverted pyramid and how small innovation the inverted pyramid can go on. I represent the corporate sector, right, and provide a different thought towards innovation, value creation, and entrepreneurship. we started HCL operations in Sri Lanka last year. Right? It's been around 15 months now. We have grown to around 1,200 plus people in the last 15 months. As a company, we are heavily invested in innovation and ideapreneurship, as we call it internally. Ideapreneurship is an idea that an employee has and an entrepreneurship drive that we provide as a platform to the employees. So from a grassroots perspective, we have thousands of customers that we serve, right? We are in the services industry. And the opportunity of innovation and idea creation is for the 100,000 plus employees to generate ideas and innovation for each of our customers. So the ideas and the innovation does not become a company in itself, but we provide ideapreneurship as an opportunity for all of us, all the employees, to start a profit center or to start a delivery center of their own based on the merits of the idea. Now, going back to the question that you asked, Mr. Satyendra, the most important thing is to create a culture, to create a platform of innovation, right? So from day one of induction of an employee into the company, we provide opportunities. We have design thinking sessions, and I understand it's easier in a controlled environment of a corporate than you're looking at NGOs and other public sectors to come to have innovation itself. But with the controlled environment, we provide a platform to our employees. We have a session once every quarter, and in a few cases, once every 6 months, to a design and allow ideas and innovation to flourish. Taken, evaluated, and put into a portal. So these are some of the value portal and taken to the customer. So we have two zones of innovation that we look at. One, zone one, right? Zone Z, which is for our customers, and zone Z plus, which is for our customers' customer, right? Our consumers, basically our customers' consumers. So that's how we validate innovation, and in a controlled environment, we create this culture and encourage people to innovate and come up with new ideas and innovations. Just one last comment that Mr. Rajiv mentioned. Very incidentally, we have this concept of inverted pyramid. The inverted pyramid was the top part of the pyramid is all the junior employees and the executives, which is the most value-adding layer because they are front face with the consumers, they are front face with the customers, in touch with the problem, and are best equipped to come up with innovation. And we leaders are the support system which help them come up with these innovations. So the inverted pyramid rang a bell in my mind when he mentioned it.
Okay. So following up with that, I just want to further take a step ahead. Is it like how we can take the
Satyendra ji, your voice is breaking.
Okay, how we can integrate these grassroots innovation in formal sector? Like
I'll take this. As I understand, your question is how we can integrate these grassroots innovation into the formal sector, right? Okay. To be very honest with you, I think let's not. According to me, I don't think we should confuse the two. Both have their own requirement for the community. Both have their own separate ways of managing things. For example, I was in Agartala, and there was a young guy from Assam University who was talking to me. Now, prior to that interaction, I was in a souvenir store where there was this local handicraft was sold. And I asked the owner of that shop, I said, do you send this handicraft outside this region? And he said, no, sir, I don't sell this. This is my shop and I do it here. And whoever walks in is my customer and that's it. Now, some amazing handicrafts from that region is localized to that extent. And this young kid from college was asking me as to, how about my doing something in artificial intelligence and in blockchain and things like that. So I said, look, that's great. But you can start from here itself rather than aspiring to kind of do something, go out somewhere. I mean, all that is possible. You can do that. You can choose that path also. But if you really want to help the community, reach out to these people, create their website, make it e-commerce viable, and see to it that these local shop owners or handicraft artists, artisans should get exposure globally. So when we are talking of grassroots innovation, I mean, there is, and on the other side, we are talking of the commercial, innovations, and as what HCL is doing, and as what many of these large corporates are doing, that they are encouraging entrepreneurship from within their teams. They are also encouraging startups to get, work with them as strategic partners. So this strategic partner could be as a kind of a solution provider, or they can acquire the company, they can work with the team of that startup. So there are multiple ways on the corporate side, and there is a different ecosystem. There is no point of talking about grassroots innovation, and there is a huge gap between that. The understanding of these small innovators, and you use this word jugaad, right? I was listening to one video where Mr. Anand Mahindra had said
Right.
something very beautiful, and I think this was in 2008 or so. And he said that I am a Mumbaiker, and in Mumbai there is this word is very popular called jackass. Jackass is excellence. Jackass is something which is very, very unique. So Mr. Mahindra said in that video, in that conversation, that from Jugaad to Jackass is the journey that one has to kind of, fulfill. So I'm saying Jugaad, when we are talking about that, with the available resources, you are trying to provide a solution to the problem that is faced by this local small group of community. And I remember when I was participating in FICCI's initiative, the self-help groups, and FICCI has done a beautiful, kind of this initiative where the local self-help groups are coming together, and they have been funded not as a one-time kind of a crore of rupee given to them. They will be funded based on the milestones. That guys, for this month, you are supposed to do X activity and create Y revenue. And for doing that, this is the funding that is required. Next month, we will meet again. And so the entire ecosystem at the grassroots innovation is entirely different than what we as VCs would want to do, and we keep doing. Because the scalability that we are talking about, because it's highly technology centric innovations and things like that, that this particular ecosystem is talking about, the corporate ecosystem is talking about. I think, in my view, I prefer not to confuse between the two, not to be so optimistic that we can bring the grassroots innovation to this level and I think that will not do good for the community for which these innovations are happening. So let it grow. Every innovation has a space, has a utility in this ecosystem. And let's appreciate that, let's celebrate that, let's support that. And once we do that, and I think that is where the entire initiative like this, a discussion like this, or an NGO or a chamber of commerce working towards these kind of initiatives and helping every aspect of this grassroots innovation to align for a better result. And eventually, maybe after 5 years, an innovator from grassroots, starts growing, understanding how the startup works, understanding how the finance works, how the inventory management works, and start growing the idea to a point where they can be spotted by some technology providers, supporters, and be taken to the next level. I think it's a gradual process, and it will happen. I'm a diehard optimist, but I think when we are starting something, let's not just be so aspirational that it can revolutionize or it can change the efforts that we are initially wanting to put. So if we are focusing on grassroots innovation, let's make sure that that ecosystem becomes stronger, those people become well-versed. I mean, there are some amazing initiatives. I can recall the ASRA, an initiative by Persistent Systems, Dr. Anand Deshpande, where they are helping an individual who has some business idea, and they are creating the template. They have created templates of the entire business process. And they are saying that, look, use these templates and grow your business. So I think if we look around, there are some amazing initiatives, including some foundations these large corporates are also running and helping. And I'm sure we will be able to make an impact. Sorry for the long answer. Thank you.
Just to no, perfect. And just to add to this, Mr. Rajiv will agree. There is a place for both of these to exist with each other.
Yes.
And there is a metamorphosis process of taking a grassroots innovation of a person. And as Mr. Rajiv said, first make it e-commerce. You don't need blockchain to sell handicrafts at the day one, right? They have to understand how do you manufacture, the scale, the supply chain, and the shipment process, and then metamorphose into a smaller corporate to a big corporate. In Sri Lanka, I've been here for the last 2 years. I moved from India around 2 years back. One of the wonderful things that I have seen is that many of the universities here, there are around 30 good public and private universities. And all of them have an extremely good ecosystem for innovation and startups. In each of the universities, from their second, third year, we bring in some of the industry experts. I am also a part of SLASCOM, NASCOM's equivalent in Sri Lanka. And we, as SLASCOM, have a lot of initiatives where we meet up with potential startups, help them, in their journey of identifying and polishing their idea, to helping them with other corporate initiatives and networks that they will require. We also help them deal with the government agencies. So SLASCOM does play a good part in bringing these initiatives from ideation to execution. So that's one good thing. But I think there is a long way to go. There's a lot of help required from capitalists to venture capitalists to corporates to other people who can help build this ecosystem to derive the value that we need.
Absolutely. I think I fully agree. Yeah.
Yes. So to sum it up, we agree that we have to treat grassroots level innovation separately from the formal sector. But yes, there has to be a link need to be made where formal sector can use its resources to promote push the grassroots innovations. Some major innovations is because of the limited resources, because of the limited awareness, there is a problem of product refining and technology validation. So for those technology validations, though we have the universities and research institutes across, but that awareness is not that much at every level, right? So maybe if you can give some more model, or if you have something in your experience where you have seen that, how we can support these innovations for refining their product to make it more customer friendly, to make it more market acceptable by the market standards, and at the same time get the technology validation done. So any of you can start.
So then I think this is a very interesting question that you are asking. And with my experience in tier 2, tier 3 locations, because what I have seen is that when you talk of elite institutions, they are overfed in terms of everything, in terms of resources, in terms of faculty support, in terms of exposure, in terms of funding. But when you go interiors into the country, tier 2, tier 3 locations, I have seen two things. Students or people in that ecosystem has hunger and anger. Anger on the state in which they are, and they want to really come out of that. Thanks to media, thanks to all the information that is available now on your fingertips, they are aware what's happening in the world, but they don't have resources and they don't have the means to achieve those. They don't have the ecosystem where people, mentors, fund, investors are around, and therefore they have anger. But let me tell you, they have a huge hunger. That kind of hunger I have not seen in any of these elite institutions, right? So as we go deeper into the society, we will see that more and more people are really want to do something. And if we help them, we nudge them. You know, there is a play there when we were young, we used to play, and I used to play this game called Coco. Coco is this Indian, I don't know whether it's Indian, it's played in Sri Lanka, I'm sure. But it's a game where everybody is waiting for someone to push. And with that one little push, they are willing to run. So I have seen this in that ecosystem. People are so eager to contribute. People are so eager to do something. It's all a game of Coco, where someone, some institution, some government, some local body will say that, hey, guy, if you want to run, I'm there to support you. Go. And then you see what kind of energy that we get from there. So to my mind, I think it is very important to recognize the power of innovation at the grassroots. It is very important to keep nurturing and step by step taking them on the value chain. Once they grow into the value chain, they are very fast adopters. They understand the rules of the game, and their intent is very positive. So with that, I'm sure we will be able to really, do some good work in this ecosystem. So.
I agree to your point. I agree to your point that if you go to tier 2, tier 3 towns, they have this because that's what I'm actually seeing on a day-to-day basis in Mohali, in Punjab. Here we have got such a great response, though we are not providing any funds. We are just providing them the basic incubation support.
Yeah.
And that is happening even across Punjab. Now we are developing the whole incubators single platform where we are interacting, we are supporting each other, we are reaching out to the incubators placed at Bhatinda, Amritsar, and so on. We are trying to activate those certain inactive incubators also with that.
Awesome.
So, Mr. Vaikuntram, now I would like to know your views on that. How is it happening in your country, and probably we can have some learnings from that.
So I think we have quite a lot of startups and innovations that are starting in Sri Lanka, especially in the last 3-4 years. It's very healthy set of entrepreneurs who are coming up. There are government support as institute called the Board of Investment in Sri Lanka, which helps establish companies locally. And there are other organizations like SLASCOM and the Chamber of Commerce, which helps people set up, give them the platform and the help required. So we as SLASCOM are doing what we can. I know two things, right? There are many innovators and many grassroots level people who want to establish. There are people like us who are intent Our intent is to help them set it up. But the bridge between these two sets of people is not obvious, is not very straightforward, as it may seem, as it should be. We need to do a lot more to connect both these parties, is, I think, the biggest problem that we see today. We are able to do it with those who are registering with us, but there is a plethora of people around the island that we need to actually work towards as organizations to be able to bring them up, right? So that's where I think there is an ongoing journey, and we need to be able to do a better job currently. That's my view on this.
Yes, actually, even with my experience also, few of the wonderful startups I've seen has come from grassroots innovations because they understand the exact problem. They don't develop the product sitting in the AC rooms. They work on the fields and then they develop. So we have certain basically agri-tech startups and in food processing. I've seen coming to certain grassroots innovations from that end. So now I would like to take it to a step further about the final stage where they actually need proper incubation or acceleration support is the market and the industry linkages. So yes, there are certain government initiatives. Yes, there are incubators across. But as of now, also specifically in India, private sector or industry is not coming forward to reach out to those grassroots level innovations. It's primarily the job of the government based incubators or the government institutions. So what is lacking at that, and how we can entice private sector and industry to provide that kind of maybe industry linkages or marketing support or market linkages for this grassroots innovation. Mr. Venkutam, you want to share?
For example, I know of private incubation labs in Jaffna, in Kandy, in Gaul. But as I said, so these are and it's very important that we are spread across. For example, if you take IT in Sri Lanka, 95% of the industry solutions are available centrally in Western Province in one place. We are not diversified as an industry. We have just started up and we are focused on one particular region. There are a few other industries that are more widespread. There are incubation labs that are present in smaller scale in different provinces, but I think it needs to improve a lot more compared to some of the examples that I heard, especially from the north of India. So that's something that I think as an island we'll have to have more opportunities, more incubators coming in and participating. Although we have seen the initial lab set up in a few places around the island.
Satyendraji, I would rather differ here, not with Miti and sir, but in your question you said that private sector is not doing enough. I think it's not true because first of all, private sector and grassroots innovation need not have any direct connect or contribution that is expected because private companies have their own internal pressures, they have own targets, they have their own priorities, and if they are fulfilling that, they are doing a good business practice. So the expectation of them coming directly and impacting the grassroots innovation ecosystem is a little overestimated. In my mind, what private sectors are doing is when they are, like, for example, Shiv Nadar Foundation, as far as HCL is concerned, and there are many such corporate foundations who, rather than looking at corporate activity, they are creating a CSR activity and contributing through that vehicle. So when we say they are not participating, I think we have to go a little deeper in that. Second important thing is that in all these committees, and I have been a part of many of these Chamber of Commerce or state government bodies and all that, right? There are private sector participation that is happening at the thought leadership level. And they are sharing their experience, they are sharing their technology, inputs in terms of structuring process-driven initiatives and things like that. So, for example, as I was mentioning about Maharashtra State Innovation Society, I think that's an amazing model. Maharashtra government has taken a systematic way of addressing grassroots innovation and promoting it. And I would urge to have a look at the website. As you are participating in that, you are realizing that 17 of universities across Maharashtra have been funded for running an incubation, and almost 200 incubating startups are getting nurtured there. There are people at the helm, like a joint CEO, and people who are running the show are people from BITS, Pilani, IIMs, and all the youngsters who are really passionate to contribute something. And then there are these incentives or rewards for IP. Now, if you want to register an IP, local IP in India, then there is a reward. If you want to register an international IP, even if you want to contribute into your quality upgradation, the government is willing to participate. So for a grassroots innovation, when these 17 universities across Maharashtra, and the state of Maharashtra, and 17 universities in almost every region, when they are funded, they are mentored, they are monitored, I think those which get reviewed gets the performance upgradation. So this is a mechanism that you put in place at state government level, where private sector also participates whenever it comes to this local university. The alumni participate, and the alumni are somewhere working in some large corporates or whatever. So I think as we see this ecosystem evolve, we are seeing some very good impact. The only thing is that structure, which is important right from the top, to reach out to that grassroots is very important. And if that is in place, if that is monitored, if it is reviewed and rewarded, we will see some great results. We are seeing some great results. And as you were talking about agro-tech and various such things, right? I mean, when you look at this Startup Week initiative, Maharashtra Startup Week, there are 100 startups who are identified. And out of those, there are some amazingly unique startups that come from grassroots. So I think we are there. It's only a matter of some more time when every state will start looking at replicating the best practices in other states and try and work towards it. I'm sure things can really, really improve dramatically. Thank you.
Even in Punjab, we have started innovation in Punjab.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the private sector is a party to it, and it has just started. It is in nascent stage, but going forward, I'm sure it will grow further big and help there. Now, I think with this, we have to conclusion. Our time is up, and I would just like to thank everyone here. And obviously, so small is beautiful. Grassroots innovation, as we discussed, it has a lot of potential, and we just need to look to it and help it grow. So, Santoshji, do you want to add anything, or anyone else has any?
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for moderating the session. It was a well moderated session. I would like to thank the other panelists also on board, though it was on a very short notice that we asked from HCL Technologies and also Mr. Vaishnav also to join because of the other panelist was down with bad health. So thank you all for joining in a very short notice, but we definitely look forward for having recognition of the grassroots level innovators so that we are able to get them on the main sector. The main corporates can adopt their technologies. We would love to have HCL to partner with our program, because today in the morning during our inaugural session from Department of Science and Technology Head International Cooperation had announced that they would like to work with FICCI on opening up a project or opening up a center in Sri Lanka. So we would love to work with HCL on that, and with the government of Sri Lanka, we would like to partner on that. And we look forward to organizing this this second edition in the physical format in Sri Lanka with all your support. And Mr. Vaishnav also, we would love to have you as one of our mentors for the program. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Santosh. Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good day.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.